he said this, and you see why I do what I do. And it says, these 12 Yahweh shall send forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles. Don't do that. Don't go the way of the Gentiles. It says, including into the city of the Samaritans, enter ye not. Don't go in these places. But he's telling you a reason why not to do this. He's giving you a clear reason why not, because he's going to explain why he's telling you what he wants you to do. And this is why we call this the same why you see the name here over where I teach at mainly. And it tells you, it says, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Go to them. We don't know who the hell we are. We just don't have the slightest idea who we are. And then you have men out there telling you lies and men out there telling you all these type of things, and they lying. And they lying to you. But the main thing is not for me to come out there to tell you, and the same thing, that if you want to get me a Bugatti, get me a Bugatti. But then if I get a Bugatti, you might well get me a Gulfstream plane with it. But the main thing is, you have men telling you this is what they need to go spread the gospel. You see them, they tell them, like, have you, and you can sit there and say yes or no, but just put the yes or no. Do you see people sitting there saying, if you like this message, we trying to get the message around the world. So if you guys want to support us because we trying to get this message around the world. Just put yes or no, because I'm gonna tell you, I hear that. That's what I hear that constant. If we trying to get this around the world. We trying to get this message to a lot of people. This is what they say. The crazy thing is, I'm talking to you from YouTube, and I'm over on Vimeo, and I'm on Fire Stick. I'm on a couple of other platforms. Now, the only one I really pay for, I pay for 2 of them, but you don't hear me telling you. He said, if you spend more than what I'm giving you, you let me know and I'll get it. I got you covered. So what I got to tell you? I ain't got to tell you anything. I do what I do. So we get that. We understand that. But he told us to do something. He's making sure, he says, go to these lost sheep of the house of Israel. I want you to go to these people. And he's telling them in what we got to do something. And he's telling me right here what we have to do. He says, in comparing ye go. So he's telling, as we go, preach, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So now y'all know why I get in your butt. Now y'all know why most time y'all sit there. Even when I talk to some of my people, they sit there like, man, you chewed us out. Now you know why. It's right here. And some of you guys, I know some of you guys might put in there, yeah, because when you talk to me, we talk on the phone, yeah, that's what you were chewing us out. Yeah. Kingdom of heaven is at hand. And that's the problem. But he said something more here, and I want you to see it. So I don't want you to get mad at me. I work for him. I work for him. So I just want you to make sure you understand that. So don't trip with me. So if you got a problem, you go talk to him. But this is what he's saying. So we got to do that right there. He said, go let them people know the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is at hand. And here go the problem right here, coming right out of Ezekiel's mouth. It says, servant of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. For that reason, hear the word at my mouth. Give them warning from me. The kingdom of God is at hand. So that's why I do it. Simple. So that's why I sit there. I tell you the channel goes up and down. Why you think I talk the way I talk? This is why I talk the way I talk. This is why you'll see the elders and other deacons, why we talk the way we talk. This is why this goes down this way. And he's telling us something that we got to do. So as we doing this, he'll tell you certain things. You see in verse 8 where he talks about things, he says, heal the sick and cleanse the lepers and raise the dead and cast out devils. Freely ye have received, freely give. He gave it to me free, so I freely give it to you. See, I just don't like the way it come out. But y'all don't know what I went through to get it. Y'all don't know what I went through. Y'all don't know what hell I was put. Some of y'all know because I done told y'all about some of it. I done told y'all about some of it. Dr. Shaw used to, I couldn't know if I was going or coming. I didn't know if I was going or coming. But he said, raise the dead. He said, lepers. Because we done lost color. We done lost our way. Raise the dead. Don't you know how many of people was here was dead? Do you know how many people here was clearly dead? And don't know, you were dead to sin. Right here. Many people in here, dead to sin. As I was, dead to sin. And he said, raise the dead. Because we were dead to sin. So I had to do it. You see some of them sitting there, me. Yeah, I don't know if you were number one, because I was good dead now. I got one in there. He was number one. We got a brother Porter, but I don't know. I don't know. I was pretty good. I don't know. I think I was playing dead pretty good. I was a good dead person. So I don't know. Me and you might have an argument over that. But I'm just saying that. But I see a lot of people. I'm saying they was a zombie. I don't know if y'all good as me though. I was a good dead person. I can play dead. But he said raise the dead. Raise them. Can you raise the dead in the church? In a building that's made with hands? No. You just come here, support us, pay this, do that, do this. You guys seeing what's going on? You're going inside there and you're telling people, okay, come in here and pay this, pay that, pay this. Take care of the preacher, take care of the house, pay this, pay that, pay this, pay that. What did that have to do with anything else? Taking cute. Yeah, he was a apostle. Yeah, I don't know, Dig. I don't know. I was playing good day. I was a good dad now. But I'm just letting you guys know. I'm just letting you understand where we're coming from. And he goes on more. He says even more. He says, raise the dead, cast out devils. Cast them out. Freely you receive, freely give. So we have to cast out devils. That's our job. So we have to, have you ever sit there, and I just want to make sure we're people who we got to sit there and we have to do this work. And the same thing when we do this job. And it's like sometimes what I have to do, I have to like going into a bathroom. I just want you to picture, I won't put up a picture of it, but I just want you to picture it in your mind. And it's just like going to the bathroom and it's half full of just poop and you have to unplug it and you don't have a plunger. And it's half full with poop, so you can't even see the water. You just see poop. And you have to unplug the poop. Casting out devils. Sometimes that's what I got to do. Same as some of the other elders, same as some of the other deacons. We got to clean out the poop. And he said, freely here. So we based on this agreement with Christ. And actually, I'm going to show you the same thing is, let me go through here. Because I want to make sure you clearly get, we are being paid. So don't think we out here being a slave. We out here being paid. And it's telling you what you remember here, what you see. Because I want you to understand where we're coming from. And you'll see this in Matthew chapter 20, verse 1. It tells us. It says, for the kingdom of heaven. So this is, I'm working for this guy because he's going to tell you, it says, like unto a man that is a householder. So it's Christ, but just that's why I say, let's just look at him as a guy. So that's why I say it's just like unto a man. So that's why I always give you these silhouette pictures like this guy. We just going to call him the guy. And he's the householder. He said he went out early in the morning and hired laborers. That's us. And laborers unto his vineyard. So he offered me a job. And you see right here, and it says, and when he had agreed with the laborers, it's more than me, for a penny a day. That's our agreement. He sent them out into his vineyard. So why would I be asking you for some money? Why would I be asking you to support me? And my agreement is with him. Why would I sit there and do that? And to give you warning that the kingdom of heaven is at hand, and I agree for a penny a day. So there's no reason for me to charge you and ask for donations. There's no reason for me to ask you for a love offering. There's no reason to ask you to support this channel. There's no reason to ask you to sit there and say, well, if you want to give me a love token, there's no reason for me to ask you any of that. It's right there. My agreement is with him. 1 penny. That 1 penny is worth eternity. It's right there. And the reason why is there, and he says something which is true, and I'm gonna show you all what I'm talking about. And the reason why we do that job, I'm gonna show you something. I want to show you something where I had them sisters do something earlier. I really appreciate the sister who took care of that for me. I want to sit there. I want to go to John chapter 14. And I want you to see something really important. This isn't bragging rights. This isn't anything of that sort. But just to show you something, how much Christ knows what's happening and what he meant. I just want to show you this. And he says, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, he do also. He's going to sit there. He's going to tell people the kingdom of God is at hand. He's going to raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, cast out devils. Freely give, you freely receive, because he's paying me. But he says something more that's really key. I want you to really key in on. And this is why I asked people to do me that favor. He said, in greater works than these he shall do, because I go to my Father. He's going to the Father. So he says, so we're going to do greater works than what he did. And we do them now. I'm doing them. Excuse me. I did them this morning. So what we got to remember is he hung out in Jerusalem, Samaria, went around those places. I just want you to think. He didn't go to a lot of long distant places. That's why I had the sisters to do what I asked them to do. And just this morning, which everybody didn't put in, but we got 40 people responded. And I want you to clearly get why he's saying there's greater works that he's going to do. He had people where he'll show up, and you had these people from one location to show up. We had people, I'm in California. I'm just letting you know, I'm in Southern California. I had people in Texas. I had people in New Jersey, Florida, California, Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Alabama, Virginia, Wisconsin, Kentucky, Maryland, Nebraska, South Africa, Cape Town, Bahamas, New York, Mississippi, South Carolina, Caribbean, Nevada, Congo, the UK and London, Tennessee, Angola, the Netherlands, Utah, Ohio, South Dakota, Kansas, Indianapolis, Chicago, Nashville, Missouri, Angola, British Isles of the Caribbean, Kansas City, Pennsylvania, I can't pronounce that one, but Amsterdam, Italy, Trinidad, Toronto, Canada. In one city. All those people, all those locations. And Yahushua was sitting in one location, talking to people in one location. I'm talking to people in many locations, in one setting. Greater works that I do, you're gonna do greater works than these. We reaching a lot of people at one time. Freely give, You freely give, you freely receive, you freely give. And you don't hear me asking them for nothing. And do you see me asking for a plane ticket to go to the West Indies? Do you see me asking for a plane ticket to go to Indianapolis or Kansas or South Dakota or the Netherlands or Angola or the UK or Nevada or Caribbeans or South Carolina? Do you see me asking for money to do this? Do you see me asking for money to go to South Africa, to Maryland, or to Kentucky? Or you see me asking for money, or do you see me sitting there hitting you and we all getting this all at one time? Freely give, you freely receive, you freely give. Greater works that he do, you're going to do greater. You're going to be able to spread this word a whole nother way. Greater than what I did. I was going from person to person, town to town. You hitting state to state, country to country. With his word. He said, I tell you what, Michael, come here. You let me rest in you. I'm going to make you go in places. I'm going to put you in places that you ain't never been. In a whole lot of these places, I ain't never, even a lot of these places in the States. I've never been to some of these states. But he's telling you these greater works is going to happen. He's saying, because I'm going to go to my Father. So I'm going to go to my Father, but watch what you going to do. Watch what you going to do. You getting ready to put in some work. So why should I need that plane? I hit all those locations in one shot. In one shot. Other than that, I would have had to get on the plane. I want you to see, this is why I'm kind of harping on this. I want you to think about that. If that's the truth, then I would have had to get on the plane to go to Texas. I would have had to get on the plane to go to New Jersey. I would have had to get on a plane to go to Florida. I would have had to get a plane to go to Wisconsin and to Kentucky and Nebraska. Plan to go out to South Africa and the Bahamas. I would have to make plans to go to these places. But I hit you. I got you in one place, 8 o'clock my time, 11 o'clock for some people, 10 o'clock for some people, 9 hours ahead for some people. In one shot from one location. Didn't cost you a dime. I freely received, freely gave. Greater works ye shall do. You've seen it at work. That's why I asked the question. So we understand this and we get it. But then he tells us a certain way to do it. And you're going to see how he tells us how to do this. So he's telling us already to go to the house of the lost sheep of Israel. That's what he told me right up front to do. So we know to do this. And as we go here, don't sit there and let these people fool you in these buildings. Talking about, oh, lo, the Church of Christ is here. We in here. We the church. We coming back for this church. They're telling you a bold-faced lie. Bold-faced lie. Cause we're gonna dig all into their doctrine. Because their doctrine is too easy to do. But you see here, we can't take nothing with us. As he said, we cast out devils, you freely receive, you freely give. So you sit there, you see he's saying it over here in Matthew chapter 10, verse 8. It says, heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. You freely ye have received, freely give. He's saying the same thing you see over here in John. But watch this. Provide neither gold nor silver nor brass in your purse. So don't try to fool you in any kind of way. Don't try to put out a perception like I'm flashy and this and that. Don't do that. Don't go to them like that. Don't go in this $5,000, $10,000 suit. Don't you do that. He goes on more. He said, no script for your journey. This journey I'm sending you to the fifth. Don't you do that. Neither two coats. Don't you go out there with two coverings. Don't you go out there saying one lie and doing another lie. Don't go out there talking about this said the Lord and you using something else. Neither shoes. Your desires, because that's your desires going to take you on that trip. Nor staves, for a workman is worthy of his meat. He's worthy of his meat. But you'll see fools will tell you that's talking about their money. They want their money. This is why we had a problem. These are the things that we go through and we understand. Because all it keeps boiling down back to is what people try to sit there to get us to fool around with is what the lie is. And same thing I showed you this morning, the same thing we see today. In Exodus chapter 19, picking it up at verse 5, he tells us this right up front. He says, now therefore, if you obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. I'm sending you a watchman. He's going to warn you of me, that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And he gonna come a certain way. He's coming a certain way. And I'm gonna show you the certain way that I'm gonna come. And I want you to understand how I'm coming. In Acts chapter 17, verse 24, it tells us this and it makes sure it's clear. This is why we see these churches of Christ and all those men, they tell you a lie. He says, God that made the worlds and all things therein, seeing that the Lord, the creator of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. So he's not going to be there. He's not in the building. He's not there. So don't look there. The same thing you sit there and you see here in Hebrews chapter 9, verse 24. For Christ is not entered into holy places made with hands. We just seen that earlier, which are figures of the truth, but unto heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of God unto us. So now we know that. Now we know that. That's the we making sure we understand exactly what he's been saying the entire time. But we have to really remember how to hold on to what God has said and what he's talking about in the scriptures. In First John chapter 3, picking it up at verse 24, it says a little bit more. Including he that keepeth his commandments dwelleth in him. Dwelleth in him. So again, dwelling in what? Is it dwelling in him or this? Because this ain't him. Either in him or this. Where is he dwelling? In him or is he dwelling in this? That's the key. See, this is real clear, real simple, real straightforward. That you had men to sit there and lie to you and try to sit there, and that's why they take you and they try to lure you from the Bible. They'll use a verse and then they'll lure you from the Bible. That's why the Satan comes out with that split tongue doctrine. He'll sit there and read a verse and then they're going to proceed to give you analogies. What do you think? We can do this, we can do that. Really? Can you show it to me? You trust no man. You trust no man. And you remember this, and the same thing as we closing this out. We're going to go to Revelation, last book in the Bible. We're going to look at this, Revelation chapter 22. We're going to look at this the same thing, the same way. In verse 14, it says, blessed, wisdom is given that are they that do his commandments, that they may have the right to the tree of life and may enter through the gates into the city. It's them. It's them. And it says, for all without, going in those buildings, doing all that. See, and this is what people have a problem with it. For all without who doing it contrary found another way to do it, and they calling themselves still want to be the peculiar treasure. For all without are dogs. People, man, that's my mama. Okay, then your mama's a dog. She rolling up in that church. She's a dog. She's a sorcerer, whoremonger, murderers, idolaters, whosoever loveth maketh a lie. It doesn't matter. And if you have a problem with it, talk to him. As he said, I made you a watchman. He says, I, Yahushua, have sent my messengers to testify unto you these things in the churches. I'm just here. I'm just the messenger. So don't get mad at me. Get mad at him. He's the one calling your mama a dog. He's the one calling your daddy a dog. He's the one calling your wife a dog. He's the one calling your husband a dog. He's the one calling your children a dog. So don't get mad at the messenger. That's the problem. And we have clarity when we go through here. But people say, well, yeah, I don't know why you're trying to talk about my mama. Go talk to Yahushua. Go tell him, hey man, I don't like the way you talk about my mama. Go tell him that. Go tell him that. Please make sure when you go tell him that, I want to make sure I'm there. Please, I just want to make sure. It says this in 1 John chapter 5, verse 3. It says, for this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. See, and what we're going to be digging a little bit more into, starting on next week, we're going to dig a little bit more into on what he's talking about, what they're talking about on the second part. Because they used this one here. I want to show you the other second part, but we're going to be ending it. But this is the second part that they used. They went to Daniel. Why they went to Daniel, I don't know. Because I don't know why they went to Daniel. I really don't. But Daniel they went to. And they went to Daniel chapter 2, and we're going to look at verse 44. Verse 44. See what that says. See what it got here. And it says, in the days of the king shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, including the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Now, we know the Bible is true. But what they try to make it mean, I'm talking about they 100% fools. See, the kingdom is being compared to what we'll see. Let's drop down here to verse 45. It says this. For as much comparing thou sawest the stone cut out of the mountain, of the place, of the kingdom, without hands. They telling you to go to a building. Well, let me just read on. And it says, in that they break in pieces iron, clay, iron, brass, and clay, and silver, and gold, and the great God have made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. In the dream is certain, in the interpretation thereof sure. So, to understand a little bit more of what he's comparing, the stone is talking about the pillar, the mountain is talking about the kingdom. So we know the iron is talking about the reverence, we know the brass is talking about a secret, we know the clay is talking about mortar. And we can already go with everything else it's talking about with gold and silver. So with all that, we understand a lot more. With all that, we understand that they lie. Because they telling you something what Pentecost is. We seen Pentecost, which we just tipping the iceberg because we got to go more into it. I'm just showing you that was the first verse that they showed. Was Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2 through 4. And we got the understanding on that. And that's what we got there.